share this. How 30s, 40s, and 50s guys win in dating with one move. I'm Joseph, Wingbro, and on this channel I discuss all things dating and cold approach related, and I also train guys in the noble art of cold approach, and I also provide relationship counsel and support. The relationship model I advocate and believe in is male leadership, female assistantship. This is not slavery, this is not being an ogre, none of that nonsense. Male leadership, female assistantship. The male is the leader, the female is the sidekick and the assistant. It's a very powerful relationship dynamic. The man is the head, the woman is the neck. When we start off the relationship itself through cold approach, we start off in a way that represents that. So a lot of guys' issues really is that they just can't even get into relationships to begin with. They can't even get into relationships to begin with. They can't even get options worthy of a relationship to begin with. And this is where the cold approach training comes in. So I have a 3-day program where I take you through all the ins and outs of cold approach. You'll do more approaches in 3 days with me than you've done in your entire life. You'll get very rapid feedback, so you're able to make years of progress in hours. It's an incredible condensed program, and then you also get 90-day support as well. So if you're interested in either of those two things, calendly.com/wingbro. I only want to hear from serious people. I don't want to hear from teenagers. I don't want to hear from people who just want to have a chat. I'm only interested in people who are serious guys, who are attractive, who've got their lives together, and they know they've got something to bring to the table. They know they offer something, but at the moment they can't get over the line with dating. The algorithms are discriminating against them. If they do go out to do an approach, for example, they do decide they want to go and do cold approach, they just realize, man, I'm just lost at sea here. Like, I'm just lost at sea without a fucking life raft. No idea what I'm doing. Which produces nerves, but it also produces hesitation. Even if you have all of the knowledge, you know exactly how to run your interactions, there's still an aspect of nervousness. So if you don't have any knowledge at all, it's borderline impossible to learn alone. And so this is where we generate the options from, but really I'm only looking for serious guys. So do not contact me if you're, just someone who's just wanting a chat or just being a clown. I'm not interested. And if you are one of those guys, who has got their shit together, looks good as well as they can do, has got their dress sense sorted out, has got the style sorted out, and believes they should to be doing better than they currently are, believes that they're actually just underperforming in this new kind of very strange, new, slightly warped world of dating, where it's all obviously been decided by an algorithm. You've got the black pill rate rising in on YouTube, which is, I didn't go into it. I said in my previous life, those people, in my view, deserve medieval treatment. I would happily hang them all from my balcony here by the neck and then drop them to the floor. That's the treatment I believe they deserve. I believe that they deserve a medieval torture / treatment. Yeah. Obviously, I'm not a head of state, so I can't enact this, but there are people who've committed suicide because of the black pill. There are people who have completely given up on themselves. I mean, what kind of a heinous message is that to guys? I think it's really disgusting, and I do think they deserve to be. Let's send them to Vlad the Impaler, Vlad Tepes in Romania. There's all of that content, which, as you can tell, I viciously despise. And it's also, the worst part about it is it's not even true. It's not even true. It's just not even true. we all have a physical profile. There is not one physical profile that is just the only one that's going to attract women. Just as women, there's not only one physical profile that attracts us as men. There's different types. So people on this jaw maxing weird stuff, it's just absolutely insane. If you look, women are very contextual. So if you look presentable in your clothes, you're in a decent city and you come across well in your approach, they're going to be interested. They're going to be interested. So yeah, those are the guys I'm interested in, guys who've got their shit together. And if that is you and you're struggling with online dating and you just can't, and you don't want to meet your girl through a fucking app, you don't want to meet the mother of your children through an app, give me a call, because that's a problem I can sort out. That's a problem I can sort out very rapidly for you. I also need to work with guys who are emotionally mature, who have the intelligence to understand not every girl is going to drop at your feet just because you've gone over to approach her. And even some girls whose number you get, some of them will fall away as well. But they're mature enough to realize it's a process. And with the girl that clicks and it all lines up, all of the outcomes that you didn't want, they all just fade into nothing. They're not even relevant. The only girls that are relevant are the girls that say yes. And then you're into something interesting and exciting. And for the rest of the time, your girl gets to think about that first approach and gets to think about that bold, dashing superhero that came over to her to rescue her from the tedium of her day. For the rest of the time, she gets to think about that if you do it in a smooth way. And so, yeah, it's an amazing way. It's an amazing way to start things off. And yeah, if you're this guy and you've got that ambition, this is a problem I can help you with. And even some guys have some deeper issues, which I can give people references and different ideas for. But I'm ultimately not like a therapist who's going to be able to resolve your previous trauma. But I do have references for the right people to get in touch with, because a lot of people find they have some people find they've got slightly deeper issues. Not all, to be honest, not all. Some guys who don't have that, brilliant. We don't need to create issues if we don't have them. So what are you talking about? I'm talking about cold approach in relationships, mate. And so let's just get into the topic of the live today. We're going to keep it short and sharp. How men in their 30s, 40s and 50s can win in one move. So the one big move is obviously getting started with some cold approach. That's the one big move. That's the move that shifts the whole chessboard in your favor. And so if you've got a good social life already, or if you've got, if you go out to the bars and clubs, you feel you've got permission in those areas, you feel you maybe have permission in your social circle, but you're probably still hesitant. If you start up with daytime cold approach, you're going to be on steroids for every other situation. You're going to be on steroids for every other situation. Every other situation is going to feel like a break. It's going to feel relaxing compared to daytime approach. So the one big move is to start with daytime cold approach. And the one big tip for daytime approach I'm going to discuss on this live is just relaxation. The importance of relaxation. You can still pull girls when you're in that more adrenalized state. You're a bit stressed out, with your approach. But the biggest hack for cold approach is relaxation. The state of being relaxed, state of being calm, state of feeling physically relaxed in your body. And this is something that it can be trained. This can be trained into you. Just like meditation trains you to relax and observe your thoughts, you can actually do that with cold approach as well. That would be, I'd say, the biggest hack for cold approach is relaxation. If a guy is all stressed out, first of all, it's questionable how sustainable that is. I've had to take time off when I was going through approach and I was very stressed. So I don't think it's really sustainable. But when you actually learn to relax, that's when you really become dangerous. You know, you think of James Bond, you think of these characters, these seducers. The one thing they are is very calm and just relaxed. And so if you're able to maintain that, that's a real hack. And I almost think there's a danger with the guys who get into cold approach. We see it as some big alpha thing of beating our chest and we're going to go and do 100 reps and things. That's good for motivation, but unfortunately, it's not actually really what women respond to. What they really, one of the main things they do respond to is just a relaxed guy. A relaxed guy. This is Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel actually loves the Dominican Republic. Actually, he comes here a lot. So maybe I'm his cousin. But yeah, relaxation is key. So we've got to be careful when we do cold approach. Just we can become too nerdy with it and put too much pressure on about it. At the end of the day, it's just talking to women in a slightly structured way. It's stopping women in a slightly structured way, and seeing if they're interested. That's basically what it is. Expressing our interest and seeing if they're interested. And we just want to remain calm about the whole thing. So this is why one of the things that guys get when they do a lot of reps, let's say they get past the fifth approach, one of the things that guys get, they get into a flow state where they begin to feel much more relaxed. It's really the relaxation. It's really the relaxation and just not giving a shit. That's really the thing that is moving the needle for them. And maybe their energy they're giving off as well, but it's mostly the relaxation. But it's good to know that you can generate that on your very first approach. You don't need to do 10 approaches. You don't need to do even 5 approaches. And the more experience you get, the more you should, the easier that will become. So there's different ways you can do it. One of them is just if you know how to relax in general. Test for interest. If low interest, leave. If high interest, yeah. If it's, I'll normally stick around a bit longer. You don't always know if they're interested within. Sometimes you know straight away, but you don't always know. You want to give yourself a chance. If the girl's particularly attractive, I give it a chance. I'll let it roll. You know, when you say test for interest, what do you mean by that? I've had this. This is one of the things the guys learned from me in Belgrade is if a girl's not immediately interested, some guys will just move on. I'll stay and wrestle with that alligator for a little while first, or if they don't stop immediately, some guys will just move on because they just don't want to waste time, which I understand. But I've just had a lot of good experiences where maybe you're right at the very first 5 to 10 seconds. It didn't. She was a bit cagey, but you know. You definitely can get yourself deep into sets, and they can definitely turn as well. But at the same time, if it's a flat no, I'm not interested at all, then obviously you want to move on. Yeah. If it's a flat fuck off, then you just move on. But I would say give yourself a minute, give yourself up to a minute to gauge for some kind of interest from the girl. Yeah. But yeah, relaxation, I just want to hammer this point. I'm just thinking about ways you could do that. First of all, you need to learn to relax in general. So things like meditation, relaxation techniques. Get yourself learning how to relax in general. It sounds such a strange thing, but it's one of the things people do in stuff like yoga and meditation. It's just learning to relax. It's actually a skill. It's a neurological state you can get yourself in. And once you know what that feels like, then you start to focus on bringing that into your approach. And there was a guy I spoke to about 6 months ago who he was in his 50s, had a family and stuff, but he'd done loads of cold approach. I said, what would be the one thing that you took away, the one tip, important tip for approach? And he said meditation. He said meditation was the thing that helped him. Because it's maintaining calm. And so yeah, meditation can be good. I do something called lightning process, which is really good for relaxation. Some people are just naturally relaxed, in which case, stick with the program. Yeah, I find though, things like going to the gym, getting a pump and stuff like that before a project, I never really found that to do too much for me. All of these little rituals and things, for me, they just don't really do anything. Um, I just need to, yeah, if I just focus on being relaxed, that's what really does it for me. Um, and as you're in your 30s, 40s, and 50s, you kind of have a bit more gravitas probably than you realize just from being older. And so the more you're able to, um, that natural gravitas combined with just being relaxed and then being well dressed, that's a very dangerous combination. You're gonna be generating options left, right, and center if you combine those things together. So yeah, this is my main theme for today. Low interest, turning away, checking phone, closed responses, minimal investment. Yeah, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. Those would be good indicators of low interest. Um, yeah, minimal investment would be the one, I think there. Yeah. Um, yeah, that's one. Those sets you want to get out of those sets because who wants to speak to a girl who's on her phone? Like I've been in sets with girls though who were doing like you know they don't know what the fuck they want in life. They don't have a fucking clue. I've been in sets with girls who were doing TikTok videos, two of them together, and they were almost ignoring me. And then I just stayed around just for the sake of it. And I think I got a number off. I did close one of them, and they did respond, which I was just doing it as an experiment. And so they go out together to do selfies and things and to do TikTok videos, and they think that's what they want to do. But if a guy comes over, on some level, that's definitely more important on some level. So yeah, you never know. But those would be very good indicators, though. Turning away, checking phone, closed responses, minimal investment. Yeah. Um, so the next thing I'm going to just talk about on again with guys in their 30s, 40s, and 50s is I talk about winning in one move. It's also learn the game and leave the game. Learn the game and leave the game. Learn the game and just get out. Um, once you're solid with your approach, I don't know. There's different schools of thought on how much time you need to spend on it to get good. I'd say within 6 months you should be pretty solid. If you apply some of the things if you apply honestly within a couple of days, if you work with me, you'll be good. And then if you just solidify it over 6 months, I think you'll have enough experiences. Let's say you gave uh, every Saturday for 6 months. You did your approaches and you were just dating and stuff. You had a little dating phase in your 30s, 40s, or 50s. I think after that, you're more than entitled to go and have a relationship. That's exactly what I did, and I was yeah, and I wasn't at the time I was trained. The body of knowledge that's been built up by myself and my friends in the group that I'm in is kind of cold approach think tank, basically this mastermind. The knowledge wasn't even there when I trained. It's only 2.5 years ago, but the level of knowledge we have now is much higher. So there were things I still, we were getting trained, we were making massive strides, but there were still things that were, in retrospect, not as crisp and as clear as they are now. So I had to go out and develop those, and other guys did as well. We kind of back and forth on things. It was probably about a year ago, I would say, things started to really crystallize. And then even in the last 6 months, there's still been one or two new things coming in, little new adjustments, which when you put them all together, um, you put together a very clean stop. I won't go through the technique now, but when you put together a very clean stop, a very bold compliment, exactly the right type of compliment, strong eye contact, a really relaxed demeanor, speaking slightly narcissistically if you get the chance to talk about your life, just subtly bringing in some good things that you're up to. I travel a lot, so I bring that in. Being well dressed, good posture, and but also having a very overall relaxed demeanor. Relaxation is really important. So I would rather someone have a bit of a shit posture than be like super rigid and stressed. When you and there's one or two other things as well. When you combine all these things together, it's almost like there's different lasers all focusing on the same point, and that point is just going to get completely lasered out. Um, so yeah, so I've just mentioned some of the learnings there from day game. I'd say a clean stop will be number one. Strong eye contact, like stronger than you think you need, um, and relaxation. Those would be my top three. Those would be my top three. Um, and there are others as well, but those would be my top three. And then also leading as well. Leading, that's probably one of my biggest strong suits historically is I'll lead the girl to instant dates. If girls, if there's, I'll move them around a little bit physically. We'll go from one place to the other. That's also very good as well. Chigbo, how are you, my friend? Good to see you, my friend. Um, so, so just to get back to, yeah, leaving the game. So give yourself 6 months, but don't stick around forever. Don't stick around forever. The only reason I'm doing a lot of approach because I'm curious to become a grand master of this, which I I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say that I'm not compared to what everyone else is doing out there. But that's my motivation for sticking around because I can teach and help other guys. I know how much this can change your life. And for the right guys, this is the icing on the cake that unlocks the reward for all of their hard work. So their hard work professionally, their hard work in the gym, their focus, on their fashion and, just their overall self-development. This one thing can just unlock a new world for so many guys. So I get messages at least every week from different guys talking about approaches that they've done, um, successes that they've had, and how this girl is kind of already crazy about them, or they've had this episode or that episode, and it's really a result of the approach. It's just a result of a very, very good approach. You could take the same guy, and if he's just walking up and down the streets on his own, I don't care how good looking he is, the girl's never going to approach him. It's never happening in the daytime. It's never ever happening. You could walk up and down those streets for 1,000 years, and you're never going to get a girl approach you. So it's absolutely on us to make the first move. But once we learn to do that, we all of a sudden start to unlock this new world. And yeah, it's good to see the right guys getting rewarded. This is what I want to see, you know. All this bad boy nonsense of like fucking, heroin dealers like getting all the girls and tattoos on their faces. That's nonsense. I want to see the right guys getting the results. And the guys who've actually worked in the right way. And so yeah, that's really what it's all about. And with just a few days of training, you can get yourself probably, well, in some case, you can get yourself to an incredibly, I was going to say you get yourself to my level. You probably can within 3 days, but the starting point would have to be quite high. But even if your starting point was low, you can get all my knowledge within 3 days, but it just takes a little bit longer to apply it. And that's why I give the 90-day support as well. But then after that, after you've done your 6 months, I just say get out of game. Get out of game. Don't stick around, or a year or whatever you want to do. Find yourself a girlfriend or whatever you want to do. But I don't think guys should be sticking around forever in this space in general. Let's move on to other challenges. Let's move on to other big challenges. Let's get the girl and then let's go traveling with her, or if you just want to live the single life, then that's fine. That's also fine as well. That's also fine as well. But if a guy's 5 years into like daytime cold approach and it's like, yeah, I've had 6 dates. Yeah, if that's you, my friend, you need to call me urgently, because yeah, you're wasting too much time. You should be getting success. relatively quickly. Even the best example I've got of this is my two autistic clients. One of them has Asperger's syndrome, one of them has autism, and they've both been laid with daytime approach, and one of them lost his virginity through daytime approach about a month ago. It's just such a good example of what's achievable, and that's after many years of development as well. So yeah, it's all there, it's all on the table. But for your average guy, get in and get out, man. Get in and get out. Everyone has a type. What is your type? Um, in terms of who you approach, I like. I'm in a bit of a model phase right now, to be honest. I think that's a bit. Honestly, I think that's a bit of a vanity metric. To be honest with you, obviously, I'm looking at that very fine, very fine face. Um, so I'm in Dominican Republic right now. So I've met a few models through Cold Approach. I've not dated one yet though. In this little stint. The girl I've dated is an absolute porn star. She's half Dominican, half Chinese. Just the biggest tits, big ass, beautiful face, nice, like really like crazy lips. Like she's got lip. I said, like, you got lip fillers? No, just just built for sex basically. So I'm saying my type is a model, but the girl I've been seeing, she's basically a fucking. She looks like a porn star. She's quite gangster as well. She's got her own business. She sells car auto parts. Can you imagine? She's got her own business selling car parts, and she basically looks like a porn star. You imagine you're just constantly surrounded by men all the time, like trying to fucking. It's just hilarious, dude. This chick's hilarious. But yeah, then other girls as well. I've got kind of some lined up in a different part of the country. Just I don't know, just attractive girls, dude. I don't really have a type. I go for hot girls though, to be honest. I go for hot girls. There's guys who do cold approach and they say they like this, that and the other. And I think on some level they are settling in their own mind because they're going, I probably can't get the girl I actually want. So they're settling in their own mind. One of the good things about cold approach is you should always go for the peak girl, the girl you want. And then kind of work your way down from there. So go for the tens first, and then the nines, and then the eights, and see what lands. Um, so yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'd say the groups of girls I'm most interested in is Latina girls, Slavic girls, and black girls. Those would be my three. Those are the girls I like the best. And yeah, just hot ones as well. Yeah, traveling with a great girl, sharing experiences together. Yeah, so there's a girl I was dating, and this is something. This is an honest question I have for myself. So I'm 40 years old, and because I lived a nomadic life, it is a little bit difficult with relationships. That's the one downside to being a true full-time nomad and explorer. As I've lived in, this year's been a slow year, and I've lived in one, two, three, four. I've lived in four countries, and I've visited Barcelona as well. So I've been in five countries, and this has been a slow year. So for the nomad lifestyle, um, circulating around different countries, it does make relationships harder. And this is something I would say to guys, potentially as a warning shot to guys, because if I could go back to myself at 35, I go, should I have set up? There was a girl I met then who was very good. Should I have just set up permanently with her? I don't know. The answer is I don't know. At the time, I'd only just started my nomadic life, and I was so excited. It'd been something I'd wanted to do for so long, so there was no turning back. I had to carry on. I had to, and I would have regretted staying in a relationship, moving to suburbia. I would have regretted that big time. Um, but yeah, I'm on probably an extreme edge on that travel lifestyle. But for other guys, I would say just continuing to pull and pick up girls for the sake of it. I don't know about that, man. I'd say give yourself, as I say, 6 months to a year. If you're younger, if you're in your 20s, then I'd probably would say probably bang a handful of girls, maybe 5 to 10 girls, probably closer to 10, just so you've got some different sexual experiences. But If I think about myself, is there a great deal of sexual difference between when you've banged 10 girls and I don't know what, I don't know what number I'm on now, but it's after, I feel like after about 10, you're experienced, you've seen different bodies, it's pretty much experienced by that point. So, yeah. But it also depends on your culture as well. Some guys, they won't even get to that point because their culture's more conservative. They've got busy lives even in their 20s. But let's say if you're US, UK, whatever, that's probably what I'll do in my 20s. I just get ratchet up some experience, and then you've got that experience for a relationship, for a later relationship as well. Um, so yeah, so that's just maybe it's a bit of a warning shot to guys like don't if you find something good, this is what I'm getting at. If you find something that's very good, genuinely, the girl's the right age, you've got the right dynamic with her, and she's hot. She's like extremely hot. You might be on a high where you think, great, I can just get five more of her. Just be a little bit careful with that because girls who are a total package girl, even in places like the DR, where it's basically a factory of wives, they're not so easy to come by. Like it does take work, you know. Um, and in places, in some countries, it's like, yeah, if you find something that's really worth it, it's not that easy always. It's not so easy to come by. So I would say consider sticking with it. Yeah, so that's a thought I've had on my mind. It's something I still think back about, but I wouldn't be on this channel I wouldn't be on this channel doing this work if I'd stuck with that girl. I would be living in suburbia, albeit in the Dominican Republic. I would be married to her, living in suburbia with a child or two. I don't know if that would be a good or bad thing, but that's what probably would have happened. Um, it would have been a bad thing. Yeah, I'm definitely helping. I'm giving myself some therapy here because I think back, I know I would have felt frustrated. I'd finally built the international life and I wanted to enjoy it. So I know if I'd sacrificed that, I'd have resented that person probably for the rest of my life. So there you go. But I'm a particular case. I don't think most guys are looking to live this kind of nomad lifestyle. They're just looking to have a great life in their place where they're living and find a great girl. Um, so yeah, give yourself some time to enjoy your newfound skills. Give yourself a year or so, a year or two, but then after that, I think it sort of does become diminishing returns. So this is like in my journey to grandmaster level. There's approaches I do literally almost every night. I took last night off, but what are we now? Wednesday. I've closed girls here Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and I only got into the city on Sunday, so I've already got three numbers. And really hot girls as well. All of them hot. But it's just kind of like, I can't even be bothered to pursue them in some cases, just kind of like, it's just more of the same. It's just more of the same. So it's a good place of abundance to get to. But yeah, I'm definitely in that space of abundance now where it's just like, if I find the right one now, I'm fine with that. I don't need more experiences. Cold approach makes it all real as well. It's all much more real. I think swiping on an app, it just does it, the whole thing just isn't really, it's not real. Guys get into the guys at the top end become sex addicts when they if they're getting success on apps, they just become sex addicts because it's just too easy. And what I like about cold approach is there's some actual resistance to it. You've got to go out into the street. You've got to actually go and speak to people. There's an output for the input of sex and womanhood you're going to be getting around. There's an output you've got to give in order to attain that, and it makes it real. It makes it real. You've paid a fair price, whereas yeah, with apps, a very small number of guys like that, 2-3%, they can essentially hack the system where there's no output and they just get all the input, or they get quite a lot of input. It's not great. It's not great. And girls want to meet guys in the flesh as well. Girls want to meet guys in the flesh as well. So yeah, so use your cold approach skills. There's guys in my group who use cold approach skills. They use it for their sales job. There's guys who are in education who are finding they're stronger in their job in schools and things. There's lawyers. You can use it across the board. You can use your cold approach skills across the board. There are a lot of transferable skills in it. But yeah, after a certain point in time, play the game, win the game, leave the game, move on to the next challenge. Work on being a millionaire. Work on your book. Work on whatever it is you want to work on. So yeah, I think we'll wind things up. Have you ever dated a conservative girls, say from Iran? Well, I'm from the UK, so Iranian girls in the UK do not tend to be very conservative. They're not that conservative anyway, Iranian girls. Iran was not a conservative place before the Shah. It was obviously, yeah, anyway, sorry, before the Ayatollah, it wasn't, under the Shah, it wasn't that conservative. You look back to the 70s, all those photos. So I think underneath Iranian culture is, obviously there's the Islamic side, but there's the non-Islamic side, which is not really very conservative. Very beautiful girls. Very exceptionally beautiful girls. I've heard knowledgeable travelers say that Iranian girls are the most beautiful in the world, and I don't have a problem with that analysis based on what I've seen in the UK. Yeah, so yeah, the right approach kind of gives the first impression. Exactly, exactly. It gives a great first impression, which you do have to maintain throughout, which is why all of those lessons, staying calm, eye contact, being nonchalant, chill, that also applies on dates. It also applies in your relationships, leading from the front. And you be the one to propose things, you be the one to take decisions she can follow or she cannot follow. That applies in the relationship as well. Dating colleagues at work. I work alone. It's something I would never even. I didn't even want to date women who were like in my class at school or at uni or anything like that. I just don't want to shit where I eat. Not something I'm interested in. But I do understand it because, I mean, logically, if that's where people are spending most of their time, proximity is a massive, I wouldn't say aphrodisiac, but just people get together through being proximate. That's very common. So if you work in a bar or a restaurant, yeah, by all means. But if you've got a professional corporate career, you're a lawyer or you're a doctor, no, don't date people at your work. That's a bad idea. That's a really bad idea. Learn a cold approach, develop a social life outside of work, and yeah, that would be my recommendation. You know, you might meet the girl of your dreams at work. Okay, sure, sure. Um, the girl would have to be very switched on as well if you were going to do that. You'd have to be the right girl. Um, yeah, in general, I would advise against her. I'd advise against her. Um, where are you based, Aryan? Are you based in India? Just looking at your name. And there's a big cultural thing as well with where you're approaching is important, the context of where you're approaching. So I'll just show you where I am. Right now I'm based in Santo Domingo, capital of Dominican Republic. You can see that building there, this building right here. That was built by Christopher Columbus's son. Christopher Columbus's son lived there. So, and that wall next to it, this is basically one of the first settlements, really the first settlement built in all of the Americas by Europeans. Not these white flats here, but this area here. So it's, I personally just love the history. I like to imagine that the Spanish boats and everything landing, you know, when there was just nothing there, when it was just forest. I just thinking about those men who just set sail across the oceans like on a fucking suicide mission. What I would give to be on those missions, I would give up everything to be on those missions, man. I'd give up everything, and even if my life expectancy was like 2 years, I'd still take it. I'd still take it. It must have been fucking unbelievable. And then the historical impact. They founded the Americas, dude. They founded the Americas. Imagine if that was it doesn't matter if like obviously most of them fade out of history apart from a couple of the big names, but you were still there, you still did it. Incredible. So yeah, so I live in Santo Domingo at the moment, and this is a really good city for it as well. The girls are quite open to it. It's such a raunchy culture, man. It's like fuck me. It feels like a powder keg every time you go outside. It's so hot and sultry and tropical. Um, there's loud music everywhere, and if you're a tourist or you're an overseas guy with good approach, you know you could find yourself doing quite well out here. It also a city where I probably would recommend going on the apps. I've had friends visit me who've been on apps out here and they've done pretty well for themselves. So yeah, that's also yeah, apps can be very good out here. Um, Street approach out here is so common that actually you've got to be careful out here that like there's a slight negative association to it out here, believe it or not, because it's so common. Guys do it all the time to girls in the streets. So you want to come in on a slightly superior angle to it, like just hitting the right note. But it's expected between men and women. It's expected between men and women. So yeah, it's a great place. Oh, you're Swiss. You're Swiss, living in Zurich. Okay. Yeah, I've got a friend who works out there in Zurich. He really is taken to it really well. All, you know, skiing and he's got like this ideal Swiss life. He works in a bank. He's quite high up now. He's got a beard. And he's out there skiing and enjoying this like high level country. Um, what's your dating situation? What's your dating situation, Ian? Are you practicing a bit of the old cold approach out there in Zurich? You know, Swiss guys are notoriously going to places like Brazil, Cuba, and Dominican. Um, there's a lot of them who come out and get girlfriends, Brazilians, and yeah. Um, I always wonder about. I'm like, are these probably a bit like me? They're just kind of like they just don't really fancy the local girls that much, and they want something a bit more exotic. Yeah, Cuba was a big one. I know several Cuban families who married into Swiss, you know, Swiss people. Um, you want it to be done in the right way, though. The guys that do that, unfortunately, they may have been raised in this like slightly simpish way or a bit too egalitarian. They don't realize with a una cubana, you've got to get it under your masculine frame first, and then you can think about bringing her over. Yeah, this one guy, it's just fucking hilarious. His girlfriend's like, his wife's got, apparently she's got depression. It's like, love, you're living in Switzerland, like rich, with two kids, everything paid for. You paid for your studies, everything is sorted. Your husband's paid for everything. You've got depression. It's just like, dude, stop paying for things, yeah, and just basically read 50 Shades of Grey and do that to her for a month. She'll be happy, yeah. Take her out to salsa for a month as well. Um, yeah. So what time are we on? I'm gonna have to shoot off soon, boys. But it's been good to see. There's couple new faces in here today. So I'm doing lives every day throughout the month of December. You can check out the other stuff on my channel. The stuff I would recommend would be the infields. Maybe I'll organise those into a list because I've got a professional job myself. My channel is literally just me picking up the phone and just either doing infields or speaking when I'm out and about, walking around. I don't like to be too much of a talking head. This is a talking head video, but my preference is to be out in the street or out actually doing infields. And I'm also living a genuinely busy life as well outside of my work and then outside of this channel and coaching. I'm out doing salsa. I'm out shooting. I'm out traveling. So there's a lot going on. But next year I'm going to be a bit more focused on producing a slightly less frequency of content, and just slightly higher caliber demonstrations, just to show people what they're missing, basically. Um, yeah, my service really is from hello to the aisle. That's really the ultimate service that I'm providing. Is from the first intro, the first locking of eyes, down to the aisle, or down to the pregnancy clinic. This is it's the whole thing right the way through, with a big emphasis on the approach itself and actually generating the leads. Because if you don't generate the leads, the other stuff isn't relevant. But there's also an issue with guys is once they actually, I didn't realize this when I came into daytime approach because my dating was fine, but I didn't realize that guys date girls, they sleep with them and they just lose them because they just don't know what they're doing on the back end. So there is a back end aspect of education. It's amazing. Guys can be really strong in some areas of their life and just almost infantile when it comes to women in relationships. So that's definitely something that just needs to be worked on. So boys, peace and love, Josefsky. I will catch you probably same time tomorrow, hopefully. Yeah, it should be around the same time tomorrow, more or less. And we'll be doing lives every day up until the 31st. And yeah, if there are any topics you'd like me to discuss, feel free to comment on other videos. If you are interested in learning cold approach, you actually think it's something you could excel in or you could succeed in, something you'd see value in, that would assist you not only gaining much greater confidence with women, generating much better options, but you can see the value in it as an overall skill set, then you can get on a call with me, calendly.com/wingbro. I'll be running immersions in 2026. The Europe immersion will be in Belgrade in summer 2026, so it's a little while away. But get yourself psyched up for that if it's something you're interested in, or if you're interested in coming out to the tropics, which I would highly recommend. That's something we can also talk about as well. But the European immersion, that'll be in Belgrade in summer 2026. So boys, I'll catch you in the next one. Take it easy.